Yeah, like, so is it true that you just push him over and he'll fall and break, and that's the end of 173? I mean, I just had to mention that because I just thought that was kind of, well, I wouldn't say stupid, but silly. People thought that's how you could just simply take him out. Wouldn't you think that they would have accidentally, like, I don't know, like tipped him over or something, trying to transfer this man to one of those containments? I just found it kind of crazy. But yeah, we're going to be watching him revisited SCP-173 from Dr. Bob channel. And yeah, hopefully this gives some people more realization. Yeah, that's not the case. If it was, I might have to change my order of my favorite SCPs.
A group of 3 Class D personnel approach the locked containment chamber.
It might
One of
lag
them
for a
is
second because I'm gonna have to move it.
carrying a bucket and mop, but all 3 of them look jumpy and hesitant to move forward. An SCP Foundation guard walking behind them gives one of them a
Let
push
me move
forward
this
to the
mic
barrel
so I
of
don't
his
know why it
gun,
makes it
and
so
they continue
slow.
stepping towards the cell door. All 3 of them nervously stare at the heavy locked metal door. Behind it, the sound of stone scraping against metal
It's a
can be heard
janky
coming from
looking
inside. A second
SMG
guard
gun,
standing next to the door
just
asks
like
the
this
3 if they are
laptop.
ready.
It's very
They don't
janky.
answer, and the guard starts to laugh. They never are. The guard loudly announces that special containment procedures are beginning now. You know the rules. 2 maintain eye contact at all times while the other cleans. If you have to blink, do it 1 eye at a time, and announce before you close even 1 eye so everyone knows.
What's
The
even the
guard turns and
point? Are
starts
they
to
like
enter a
getting
code
off
into the
on this?
keypad next to the door. Each of the D classes
Teaching
take
them
a
how to
couple
last
hard,
longer
last
for
blinks,
what?
taking the last opportunity they have to shut both of their eyes at the same time before they begin. With a loud hiss, the sealed chamber door unseals. "All right, eyes up," the guard commands. The door opens to reveal a small, dimly lit chamber. There are no furnishings, and much of the metal floor and walls are covered in a reddish-brown
173 should
substance.
have turned around right
And
there,
there in the
cracked the
corner
security guard's
is what
neck
they've heard stories
just
and
for
rumors
looking
about.
away.
The thing that has given them nightmares ever since they learned that they would have to enter its containment chamber, SCP-173. Or, as most of the staff in the SCP Foundation call it, the sculpture.
His butt shape.
It looks so unassuming in person. Just a crude concrete figure with
Look
a
at his
stupid-looking
booty.
spray-painted face,
It's not
standing
even a
motionless
butt.
in the
It's like
corner.
poking out
3
the
D
wrong
classes get
direction.
another push from the guard behind them,
Downwards.
and they enter the chamber. The 2 assigned to watch SCP-173 assume their position in the middle of the room, their eyes locked on the sculpture as the other starts cleaning the foul substance off the floor and walls. It smells terrible, like a mix of old blood and human waste. The 2 assigned to watch 173 pay no attention to the one cleaning, though.
His eye
They follow
twitching
protocol to a
extra
T,
hard.
maintaining their vigil and announcing each time they are going to blink, even if it is only 1 eye. The third one continues cleaning, trying his best to keep his own eyes locked on the
You ever
sculpture
try
as he
to do
attempts to
that
mop
and then
around
you
it
like
without getting too
accidentally
close.
blink both your eyes, like
D5933 does
then
his
it goes
job
like,
and
okay,
doesn't break
switch oops and switch,
eye contact with
blink both.
SCP-173.
Ugh.
Even though it hasn't moved, he can feel the presence of the sculpture, something within it, just waiting for him to slip up, to let his eyes avert for just 1 split second. They say that's
Well,
all
I'd
it
have had a
takes.
nice
You stop looking
conversation
for even an
and been
instant,
like, yeah,
and it's all over.
I'm not gonna make it. Here we go. The worst of the worst.
I'm Agent Mobius, by the way.
Okay, skip. It's gonna lag again very, very
With all the
hard.
fear
I got a
coursing through
very,
his
very
veins,
bad
it's
laptop.
hard to maintain focus. All he can think about is how dry his eyes feel, and blinking them 1 at a time never seems to be enough. He wants so badly to shut his eyes, to end their itchy, dry feeling. But he can't. Even with another watcher, it's too risky. There's suddenly a loud crack, but D5933 doesn't move his eyes away from 173. He can see in his periphery that the other D-Class dropped his broom and instinctively looked down at it. Luckily for him, there were others watching. D5933 shifts in place, taking a step back and bumps into something. He can't look at what it is, but he reaches behind him and feels that it's the other D-Class watcher. But wait a minute, why is he facing the other way? "What are you doing? What's going on?" he asks, his eyes never leaving SCP-173. "What are you talking about?" the other D-Class asks back. "You're facing the wrong way." I'm facing the wrong way, you're facing the wrong way. We're supposed to be watching 173. What are you looking at? I am looking at 173. What are you looking
See,
at?
at that exact moment, I just start backing up
doesn't know what's
and
going
looked at
on and starts to
173.
panic. The one
And
cleaning
use,
is
your
focused on his
optimal
task,
vision,
trying as
whatever
hard
the
as
hell
he
they call
can to
that.
quickly mop
Like,
up an
oh shit,
especially
yeah,
dirty
there's
corner of
two.
the cell.
Yeah.
It's
Take
the worst sound
crack your own neck.
D593 have heard.
He probably still coming crack
just
anyways.
inches behind his head, followed by the sound of bones
That's
being
disgusting.
cracked. A
Oh, that's why they had them do
scream
that,
that was
just
cut
for
off
the
too
cleaning
short,
part,
and
not
then
for
a
the
sick
killing.
thud as a body dropped to the floor. D5933 doesn't even have a chance to scream before a pair of concrete hands grab his neck and his own head is twisted around to see another identical-looking sculpture staring back at him.
Oh, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen of the O5 Council, we have a problem.
Was that movie Army of the Dead where that girl got her head turned around, blinked, and was like, wow,
obscuring
yeah,
both
that
their
happened.
identities as well as their reactions to his horrendous news. SCP-173, through means which we have not yet been able to determine, has multiplied. There's no reaction from any of the 13 figures seated around the large, curved table. The researcher in charge of SCP-173 waits for a response, anything at all, but after receiving none, he clears his throat and continues.
His booty shakes.
We gave each of the new instances their own designation, SCP-173-1 and SCP-173-2. Two of the D-Class on observation duty during their regular cleaning of 173's cell were killed. The third was able to keep them both in his line of sight until they could be recontained and moved into separate cells. Again, no reaction from the shadows. But as you know, this wasn't the end of it. At some point, the instances of SCP-173 multiplied again, each splitting to form yet another instance. SCP-173-1 through 4 are all contained separately, but we don't know if or when another split will occur. The senior researcher waits, but no one on the O5 Council speaks or moves until the one seated in the very middle slides a piece of paper across the table in front of him. The senior researcher looks confused. He looks to the mobile task force guard stationed near the door, but he too remains expressionless, eyes locked straight ahead. The researcher, unsure of what else to do, steps away from the lectern and walks towards the table. He picks up the piece of paper and reads it. Object class, upgrade from Euclid to Keter. Orders, continue observation. The senior researcher nods in agreement, thanks the O5 Council for their time, and leaves the room. Lights flash and siren blare in the halls of Site-19. It's a containment breach. Facility staff, researchers, and site guards all run down the hall, screaming, trying desperately to get away. There's no hope for any of them, though. In a flash, SCP-173 instances appear behind them, snapping their necks and dropping them to the floor before moving on to their next victim.
Down, human,
there must be dozens
down.
of them, even as a guard tries to keep their eyes on one instance. Preventing it from moving, another appears behind them. The staff of Site-19 flee for their lives, screaming for someone, anyone to help them. The senior researcher presses pause on the video. The terrified face of the senior researcher who gave the last presentation is frozen on the screen. An instance of SCP-173 is directly behind them, its hands wrapped around his neck in a split second before his life was snuffed out. The new researcher giving the presentation looks considerably more frazzled than his predecessor.
He
explains to the O5 Council that following this horrific containment breach at Site-19, at least 61 instances of SCP-173 are now unaccounted for. It is still unknown how they are replicating, but worryingly, there is evidence that the process may be speeding up. He presses play on a new clip from the security footage, which shows what appears to be multiple instances of 173 working in tandem, some using their bodies to block exits, others creating kill points in the facility corridors. We have theorized that SCP-173, as we are now referring to the collective instances, may possess a form
you could at the same time say
of hive intelligence. It also appears that this
692
intelligence scales with the number of instances that are nearby.
But that's an ability.
This allowed them to implement tactics that thwarted our containment efforts, as they used instances to block our containment teams from being able to pursue others.
But he had trouble fighting him.
What you have in front of you is a proposal for revised special containment procedures.
Snap 173 neck.
What I recommend may sound drastic, but it's what I truly believe is the only way to
said, just like this guy fought the Hawk.
Each of the O5 Council members
was the best course of action.
Them,
it said,
it
get
into
out
the
of there.
shadows that obscure them. What I propose is that SCP-173 instances no longer be kept in containment cells, but instead placed inside of form-fitting
It's just
metal
not good. The
containers.
fact they
We can
said
then
stinks.
use SCP-120 to transport the instances to the Foundation site on the lunar surface. The facility will have to be abandoned, of course. It's too risky to maintain a presence there, but each of the instances will be fitted with a tracking collar to ensure that we will be able to detect if any of them are somehow able to escape. The senior researcher waits. After a time, a paper is once again slid across the table. He approaches and picks it up. He sees that it is the same folder containing the revised Special Containment Procedures proposal. He opens it to find that it has been stamped, approved. Breaking news flashes across the screen. A worried-looking reporter appears as though she didn't have time to do her hair or makeup before rushing on air to deliver this special report. She explains that civilian deaths across North America are now estimated to be more than 500,000
That is working real
people
life.
in the last
We just
48
went through a
hours,
pandemic,
as these still
and they still
unidentified
wanted us
creatures
to
continue
work.
their deadly rampage across the continent.
Refused
It is
to
unknown
give
how
us
many
our
of them there
own
may
money.
be, but the number of sightings has led some to estimate
So
that
yeah,
there may
I
be
can
hundreds, if
understand.
not thousands, or even tens of thousands of these living, neck
You're not taught the stimulus, so
snapping
I heard they
sculptures.
were our
The
own
reporter
money.
explains
It
that rumors are
was.
circulating that the creature can be stopped by maintaining eye contact with it, but that this has yet to be confirmed. There is still no official word from the White House or from any members of Congress, and their current location and status are unknown, following reports that most of Washington, D.C. was overrun by the creatures earlier that day. The reporter suddenly stops speaking, and a terrified look comes over her face.
I bet
Her
it
eyes locked
was.
on something just off screen.
Yep.
The camera pans over to show an instance of SCP-173 standing over a dead cameraman. There's a scream, and the camera goes back to the reporter, who now
Hey,
lies
that was
dead
like an
on her
idea
desk,
I was
her head
gonna
twisted
say
180 degrees.
for like
Before
096.
there's
While
another
people
sound
coming
of
up with
bones
all these
breaking
ideas.
and the
What if you
feed
took a
goes dead.
mirror right in front of
A
096,
woman in an
put it right in
SCP
front of
researcher
his
coat
face, and you
sits
seen
at a computer
himself?
terminal in a secure bunker,
What he'll
a
do
large
then? Because I
jeweled
was gonna say, what
medallion
about
around her neck.
173? I'd have probably done it
Personal
at that moment, but
log of Dr. Bright.
he's ready for a
From the little
096.
news I've been able to gather, it sounds like SCP-173 has besieged and destroyed
Like
4
seriously, that
Foundation facilities
psychotic
pretty
guy
much
starts running
simultaneously in
after
the
you,
last 24 hours.
and you just scream.
Each
There's nowhere
instance
you
shows
can
the same
go,
strength as the original,
but you have a
and
mirror,
thousands of them working together,
and you put it right in
capable
front
of
of his
ripping
face, and
open
he just goes
concrete
like, "Oh my
bunkers and
god,
compromising
I'm
a foot
so ugly."
thick steel doors. I alone have been killed 37 times in the last week. They can smell me somehow, regardless of what body I'm in. The majority decision of the remaining O5s is that this is an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario unfolding.
What?
And they're going to
Is-
deal with the problem,
I'm so ugly.
or else the Russians are. They're evacuating
Is
this
that
base,
amulet
which
a
means there won't
SCP?
be a single Foundation scientist anywhere in the New World. They say they're going to try to evacuate the surviving civilians, but I doubt it.
Is
There
this
can't be
chair,
more than a couple hundred people in all of North
SCP?
America anyway. I
Oh
managed
yeah,
to make it
there's
down to
a
a secure
SCP
bunker,
chair,
but
so
who
let me
knows how long
stop.
it will be until they're able to get in. I don't think there's any chance I can get out either. I'm running out of food, and I'm not sure which will get me first. Hunger, the sculptures, or what I know the O5s will inevitably do. Dr. Bright closes the computer terminal and sits back in her chair. She looks up at the ceiling of the bunker where the sound of concrete scratching against metal can be heard through the thick walls. A sullen and tired-looking researcher steps out of a room in the makeshift Foundation site that has been established just outside of Amsterdam.
You know
in the
what you
Netherlands.
do? You get a cat.
He's holding a piece of paper and closes the door
And
behind him,
I don't
which has
know
had
if only the
O5
cat knew
Council
to
authorized entry
stop.
only,
You
hastily
know,
painted on
don't
the outside. A small
like
group
look
of
away
Foundation
from
staff are waiting for
173.
him. They've gathered to hear what the overseers have decided to do in the face of this
Oh
world-ending
boy, these
disaster.
ass don't stop. And I don't know if only the cat knew to stop. You know, don't.
I was looking for a way to make some extra money. I saw this video of a guy talking about how much money he made on DoorDash. So I figured I'd give it a shot. And
I was thinking about DoorDash, but
The researcher looks around at his colleagues' faces, and as they make eye contact,
get
any
car
hope they had
problems.
is quickly replaced by the bad news they know is coming. He begins to read. Revised Special Containment Procedures. Containment Zone X1, formerly North and South America, is to be denied access. Following saturation nuclear bombing, the number of SCP-173 instances has been reduced.
What?
All available Foundation resources
What if it
are to
took
be
that just to
redirected
kill
to
one?
monitoring the ocean to ensure the integrity of Containment
Originally,
Zone X1.
like even if it was too
Foundation
much,
adjuncts from national
like,
navies
that'd
are
be
to perform
crazy.
around-the-clock patrols
because
and
they should
sonar
have killed
sweeps.
it before. I mean, that
Detected
thing
instances are to
stink.
be contained and removed to SCP-120 for transport to the
I mean,
lunar
well, then
containment
again,
site.
you know, it's probably just
That's
shit.
it? One of the staff members
Can't really
asks.
blame it.
That's it. the researcher replies. Several of those present begin to cry. There's nothing more they can do. Their homes, their friends, their families, all of them are gone, killed either by the neck-wrenching sculptures or in the heat of a nuclear blast. Why? Why did they have to do it? One of the other staff, who appears to be a former site guard, asks. That's all we could do, another argues. There's much disagreement in the small crowd. No matter how they feel, though, this was the official order from the O5
Has
Council.
anybody
Their
asked
word is
Dr.
law,
Bob what
especially in
would
a world
he do?
where all law and order outside of the
Travelers,
Foundation
what
has
would he
broken
do to
down.
these
There really
SCPs?
was
Like
no
he's
other
Batman.
option. All they can do now is hope that the sacrifice of 2 whole
Not
continents
just Batman,
was
somebody
enough
else.
to keep it
Yes,
contained,
Batman just the
that
most known.
SCP-173 is unable to cross the ocean to Europe, and that they remain safe on this side of the planet. The group grows quiet, mourning the loss of the world they once knew, when the silence is suddenly interrupted by someone running down the hall. It's another researcher, carrying his own piece of paper. He tries to push past the group towards the O5 Council's door, insisting that they let him through, that he has important news that can't wait. What is it? Demands the group. We deserve to know. The group wrestles the paper away from the junior researcher, and it is passed through the group to the same man who read the revised special containment procedures. He quickly reads the report. It's just a couple of lines, and his face goes white. What is it? What does it say? Comes a question from the crowd. A message from the North Atlantic Navy General Command. Verified sighting of SCP-173 in the United Kingdom.
You know, it's
Nuclear
not nothing
bombardment
good.
authorized and executed. No survivors. SCP-173 revised entry. If you liked this, then be sure to watch the first SCP-001, the prototype.
The first.
Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more like this, and make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single
Yeah, though. You take a mirror for 096. I know we just watched 173, but you take a mirror when he's running towards you. Out of surviving the surface of the sun, being tossed to another planet, underwater, and then he comes across a mirror. What will you do against that? Anyways, yeah, subscribe, watch our original video on Dr. Bob's channel. Please leave a like on both of our videos. And it'll get better. When I start editing, like, it's gonna be me, I don't have anybody else to do it. It's just me. So yeah, sorry. And if you can't tell, I got a bad laptop, but it'll get better. Just stick with it.